Good afternoon. We are now going to call to order the meeting of August 22nd, 2023 of the Historic Preservation Commission. We're going to start with a roll call. We're going to go around the room, and the members present, we're going to ask that they introduce themselves speaking into the microphone.
Jane Camp.
Laura Powell.
I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Elizabeth Jones, the chair.
Faye Brassey.
Mark Hannis.
Next, we're going to allow the city staff to introduce themselves.
I'm Brad Callender, Planning and Zoning Director.
Laura Wilson, Code Assistant.
Next, we're going to have the approval of the agenda as submitted. We're going to ask if all of the members have had a chance to review the agenda and if they can show approval with a raise of their hand and a vocalization into the microphone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Approved.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we're going to have the approval of the minutes. Has everybody have a chance to look over the minutes of the past, let's see, the date of the last meeting? That was July 25th, is that correct?
This says minutes July 18th.
Was it the 18th? Let me look.
What it says 18th, minutes July 18th.
Y'all bear with me. I think it was July 25th. No? Laura?
Your
can you
copy says July 18th.
Should
I
be
don't
July
know.
25th.
In the agenda, it says 18th, so we need to correct that.
Okay, so we do need to, we will need to correct that.
The agenda that I have says the 25th.
Okay. Let me see what you're looking at, Faye.
July the 18th.
I do see that.
We were literally looking at the same thing and it says something different. That's insane.
Oh.
Okay, so we will correct that then.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes with the correction of the date to July 25th?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Minutes approved with the correction. Laura, did you get that?
Yes, thank you.
All right, next, we are going to go on to, do we have anything else before we go on to the business?
No, ma'am.
Report from the code officer, according to this.
Okay.
Report from the code officer. Y'all don't have the same thing I
I
have?
think you might be looking at something different.
Well, all I'm doing is looking at what you put in front.
I got you. Let me fix this.
I'm on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading what's in front of me.
I got you.
He said I was on the wrong commission.
We were in
Yeah.
the planning commission.
Well, I am too. I'm on the planning commission.
Well, there you go.
Okay, good.
Y'all bear with us.
That makes me feel better.
Technical difficulties.
Right?
Thanks.
So for that, do we need to have a
Oh, yay,
resubmission
good.
of that, Laura?
Yeah, because you don't
Of
need
the
to
minutes.
change the date. The date's correct in here.
If you would like to reapprove the minutes, we can.
Okay, let's just do that for,
I'll make the motion to reapprove.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Jane, did you hear that?
What?
We had a motion to approve, reapprove the minutes, and we had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Laura, did you get that? Okay. Moving on. We have no old business, so we're going to move right on to new business. First on the agenda, we have a request for COA 127 North Lumpkin Street. Laura, do you want to go ahead and call that one up? And
Yes. So I'll give you a brief overview. 127 North Lumpkin Street is in the Monroe Commercial Historic District. It currently has the restaurant Strange Taco as well as High Voltage, and the applicant here is requesting building signage for High Voltage. You can see it on the photo, that's a mock-up of the sign. The sign looks large on the building, but it is under 40 square feet, so it meets code requirements for signage. And then here you can see the bottom photo, that's their temporary sign that they have right now, the banner. And in the top photo, you can see the red arrow up here. That's actually where high voltage is. It's over here. Their sign will be over here, and then the actual entrance is right there.
Thank you. Hey, guys, Chris Collin. Hope everybody's doing well. That pretty much sums up the signage. What we've done when we purchased this building, we knew we didn't need 6,000 square foot taco restaurant. So we had strategically placed the kitchen in the middle of the building. There's some really cool businesses in Decatur that have done this, and we really have two kitchens in the middle, but they use a adjoining kitchen to have a restaurant in the front of the building and then a restaurant in the back of the building, and it makes great use of the space. And so when we just opened up with Strange Taco, which was an existing concept that we had. And we knew that eventually one day we'd get around to doing something in the back, kind of like we wanted it to have a speakeasy feel that kind of invites people into the back alley of that building. The alleys have a cool history in downtown Monroe, and we thought it would be a neat idea to kind of reintroduce people to them. We're really excited that alley is getting a facelift here, hopefully soon. And we're hoping to connect walkability from Spring Street back behind the Peyton Pettis State Farm building, and for people to kind of be able to wander throughout the city in the alleys like they've done in some of the little pocket parks that they've created in murals. And so the business has been great at the Wing Spot. We've been open for about 2.5 months, I think, and we're looking forward to the same gentleman that painted the sign on the Strange Taco would be painting the sign for the High Voltage logo, and we wanted it to have kind of a classic, timeless look like you would see on older buildings, painted on there like we did with the top one. And so we created this logo, and it kind of has an arrow shape in it, alluding to the fact that people have to walk around the back of the building to get to the business.
Do you anticipate that you're going to need a continuation of the arrow or something on that end?
We just have there's a glass door on the back of the building that has a logo on there, and people have been finding it.
I found it, but I just was curious as to.
If we did, we would have to, obviously come back and see you
Right.
guys again. We looked at that. It's a good idea. We looked at that from like an artistic standpoint, and it would be kind of cool, but we also don't want the building to look gaudy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We had in the original sign we were going to bring up to the left-hand side, there's a door, and we tried to make taco go up the side of that door, and it started to look like a convenience store, and that's not the vibe we were going for. So, but anyway, we thought it was classic and classy looking, and I hope you guys feel the same way.
And I like the uplights
Yep.
as opposed to both
think
of
that-
them being downlights.
We had put, since it's lower to the ground, we had put in the original rendering that we did the uplights, and it just made it look really weird again. It made it look gaudy, and those little lights will disappear during the day, like you won't even know they're there, and then at night the sign gets illuminated from underneath, and it kind of gives a cool effect to it.
Does anybody else on the panel have questions?
And I like the way you repeated this yellow here.
Yes, ma'am.
It kind of pulls your eye on around
Oh.
instead of changing colors.
It does. I didn't intentionally do that. Well, intentionally we had some leftover paint, and I was like, I'm not painting. We had painted the rafters in the back of the building yellow, and I said, whatever concept we do, it's having this yellow in it, because I'm not getting up there and painting the rafters again. So I guess unintentionally it came up there.
It's good.
Any more questions on the panel? No? Do we have any questions in the public? No?
I did not. I did not. I should have.
Do we have a motion?
I move that we accept the proposal as presented.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you all for everything you do. Appreciate you.
thanks so much, we appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Motion approved. All right, moving on to the second one. Let's see, request for COA 405 Ninth Street. Looks like we have a fence. And I'll ask the applicant to approach the podium and state their name after Laura goes over this.
Okay, so our second request is for 405 Ninth Street in the Monroe Walton Mills Historic District. The applicant is requesting to add a fence to the property, and here is a overview that they provided showing where they were going to put the fence. And then earlier today, I also emailed you some photos that the applicant submitted. They are going to want to do some work on this shed here, so they're also going to talk to you about renovating that space over here. Okay?
Thank you. I will say that the first picture, it's not nearly as dreary as that picture showed. I'm Greg Davis, and Peter W. Yeah, and this house has been rental property at least 23 years, if not longer. Talking to the neighbors, and my wife and I purchased it, and our son is buying it from us. You know, it's rent to own. So we're going to take it off the rental market. We've already replaced the roof and done rewiring in the house, and we've also done some plumbing in the house. What we're anticipating is we wanted to, and I wish we had more of a head-on picture of the house, but the house, you know, of course, has the two doors. It's the standard mill house, and it's all white except for a blue front porch. And so we want to have what's called a Kentucky fence, and you've got pictures of that, I guess, in your packet. That will be painted white. We're going to be putting, it's a more expensive way of doing it as opposed to chain link, but we think it fits more into the look of the house. And that is, there would be a 4x4 post every 8 feet, and it will go into the backyard, and it won't go all the way because it's an eighth of an acre, so it's a fairly large piece of property. So it will go what is already kind of mowed area, which is about 2/3 of the property, and then so you have these 4x4 posts, and then you will have that will eventually be painted white once the wood is cured, and then we will have strips of 2x6 that, you know, on 3 levels, and then to go around the property, except for the left-hand side, which is already, the neighbor has a chain link fence. So we just hook on to that, and then we will have a double gate on the left-hand side, and we would have a single gate on the right-hand side. Did I leave anything out?
Okay.
Laura, would you go over where the fence is with your,
Yes.
please?
Okay. So, talking about starting the fence vaguely right in here. Oops, I keep hitting your thing, Brad. And then you're gonna put it in kind of the mowed area?
Right, you're right.
All right, and is this the neighbor that's got the chain link?
Yes,
Okay, so you're gonna hook into the existing chain
Right.
link on this side?
right,
And a double gate and a single gate?
right. And it will go just beyond the, those are stairway, you know, those, it will start right beyond the back steps on both sides. And then the building is concrete block, but it's been terribly neglected. So we can save the concrete block and hopefully most of the rafters, and then you know, we would put shingle on it to match the house when we're all done. Behind that is a chicken coop, which has been added on, and so we're not quite sure what we're going to do with a chicken coop, but who knows?
Chickens in it.
Does anyone have any questions on the panel?
No, when I was looking over these pictures that Laura sent today, it just dawned on me, there's so many buildings on one property. Is that okay?
There what?
there are just so many buildings on one property. You've got the chicken coop, you've got the concrete block,
Okay.
you've got the
Oh,
house.
no, those are the same thing. It's just a shed, but for some reason, like, they had a concrete block shed, and then they basically just added an almost identical one, like, so there's a front door to the shed and a back door to the shed, and then the roof is just like, it's like two separate roofs that they've tried to make one, so it's all one structure. It's just that it's like split into two halves, basically, and neither side has been taken care of. So we would just basically be turning it into one.
Elongated.
Okay.
Because the chicken shed was obviously added on, or, sometime.
Yeah, it's bizarre how they did it. So we would just be making it
Yes, sir.
just one shed, basically, for tools and stuff.
I can see it, they kind of elongated it.
Yeah, they added like a backside to it and made it just close enough to be frustrating to look at.
So we're not dealing with the shed today, or are we dealing with the shed and the fence?
So it'll be the shed and the fence, technically they need, even though it's a non-conforming structure, technically they need permission to alter it, so I just asked them to tell you about it since they were coming here.
I think it'll look better. I mean, it's an improvement.
I mean, right now it's caving in, so it wouldn't take much to improve it, but it's going to fit into the house pretty well.
Yeah, it's like two separate colors of blocks and stuff like that, so basically we'd just be painting it and fixing it up to match the house, but it would be the lawnmower and stuff like that.
I normally don't care for this type of fence, or don't think it's appropriate in a historical area for this kind of fence. Usually it's the picket that you see in a historical area. However, where you are located is rural looking, almost. You're at the end of that street, and it's very rural looking. So, I don't know, that might be appropriate, but it's added so that you could always go back and do the pickets.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you for not wanting a chain link fence.
Yeah, we definitely didn't like
We
chain
wouldn't want you
link
to have
fence,
that.
even though it was cheaper.
Right.
And it would match what the neighbor has.
Right.
But we're doing a fairly large piece of property.
Right,
And so, I think if you actually had the kind you're talking about, it would end up more expensive than the house.
Well, and you might near the house add the pickets. I mean, it's just a thought.
Sure.
But this is a real country casual fence. And if you were one street up or on the other end of your street, I would say definitely no.
Sure, no, I can understand that.
Where it is, what do y'all think? It's
I
pretty
agree.
rural looking down there. I don't see a problem with it.
Does anyone else on the panel have questions? Does anybody out here have questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, number 3, request for COA 707 South Madison Avenue, exterior changes.
Okay. Next item is, as Elizabeth just said, 707 South Madison, a request for modifications to a dormer. Now, the applicants have been here before you when the project originally came up, because it is in the historic district. So they did come and get permission to make alterations to the structure. The problem has come is in this dormer, and this is how the structure currently looks. As it was constructed, is a bit small in proportion to the rest of the house. And so they have come requesting to make modifications to this. Here is their sample drawing of what they would like to do to increase it, sort of triple it in size, and then add matching windows, so there'll be 3 windows across. The bottom photo here is the inspiration for the design.
Chair. My name is Lori Volk. I'm with Overlook of Monroe. Y'all have a picture of this in the application packet. I also want to give you, if it's okay, can I pass this over? This is another option for the additional windows on either side of the door. We can't make these windows any bigger because it's a bathroom.
No, those Bermuda windows, shades. Not appropriate.
But we like to do it in a way that y'all will approve of.
Well, I appreciate your making it larger, because it's definitely better proportion.
Yes,
For
it
the-
will look better once it's been extended.
But these shutters that you brought are Bermuda shutters. And they're
It's just
really-
an option, just
Yeah.
a suggestion.
That looks much better.
Love the finished product.
What's that? I didn't hear any.
Jane, did you say something?
And you said you can't make the windows any longer.
They should not be any bigger than that
Okay.
because of privacy issues, because it's a bathroom.
It's a big improvement.
I definitely think making it bigger, the 3, but I personally do not like the small windows. So I was going to suggest making them bigger. So,
Well, that was where the shutters aspect
Right.
came in, just, as an option, because that little window doesn't take up a lot of space there. And the shutters take up more space of the front of the dormer. It just looked better. But you're right, the style is different.
You can't make them larger because of privacy?
Yes, ma'am.
And why is it you can't make the windows longer?
It's a bathroom.
Oh, it's
The
a
shower.
bathroom?
The shower.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if, and I'm just throwing ideas out there, I'm just trying to figure out a solution for this. Because there's a bathroom there, we can't have a larger window, and, just stylistically, we want a larger window there. I'm trying to think, what can we do to make a balance, for the.
We not
for
do
the-
a fake bottom?
I'm wondering, what can we do to make a balance there? Is there a way you could put, something up there to create balance? Like, anything, even like a medallion or something there to create some kind of balance on the bottom, or anything,
I think if you just trimmed it out like it's a double hung window.
Yeah, or some kind of
and paint
trim.
paint the bottom black.
Any kind of trim.
Put glass on it.
What do you think, Laura? Do you have any ideas?
I have a question. So where the dormers is gonna be extended, is that also bathroom?
No.
Okay, so could those windows be large? Just an idea, could those windows be larger and then the middle one have like a faux shutter on it? So it would be balanced, it'd be like window, shutter, window? I don't know.
This is my partner, Bruce Henley.
We've already framed it out.
Okay,
Talk into the mic.
It's for recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've already framed it out.
got it.
Symmetrically, this would be ideal. I know it looks a little Charleston-ish versus,
Bermuda, it's Bermuda.
okay. So we've already framed out either side, and they're both faux. It's just, fake dormer. It doesn't go inside the house.
Got it.
The middle one, we can't replace that. It is in the middle of a shower. You're standing there, and it's here. If we made that center window larger, then you're,
Makes sense.
and then you're throwing a shower curtain or something up there, which would look tacky. So currently, we did windows, and I wish we had a picture. We've already framed it out for a large window on each side, but still, in my opinion, it doesn't look symmetrical with the center window. Someone made a suggestion to just do a faux window underneath that to give it the symmetry, Certainly an option that would be simple and easy to do, and like, but to take that little center window out, and there's tile there,
Right.
would invade someone's privacy first, and second, would be super difficult to do. And even when you're in the shower, you know, there would be an opportunity for leaking and water getting into the window because it's at such a low area. So, you know, the choices are, or the options, in my opinion, would be what you see there, 3 small dormer windows, which I'm not in favor of.
This is what it looks like right now.
Windows on each side that are normal size, and then the dormer, the small transom
Yeah, that
window in the
doesn't look
center, which still doesn't look symmetrical. Or what was suggested is to make all 3 windows appear to be the same, which would be, I think would be an easy fix. So, anyway, I don't like talking up here, so I'm gonna sit down.
Yeah.
That would be my preference,
they-
with
and I don't-
trying to make them look like they're all 3 the same.
Mine too, and just make a faux window in the center, just add on to the,
And not one big piece of glass though either, like the,
Paint, yeah, with panes,
Yeah, it's gotta have-
buttons, yeah,
So the faux windows, to extend it to make it
to
long.
the bottom part of
Right.
that one.
Right. Right. So the two, one on each side would be the real windows, and then the faux would be the center. So all 3 the same size.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So that way they're balanced.
That's
That
what
would
we'll
look-
do.
that
And
look
up
real
that high, I don't think you'll realize that that center one is not a real window. But when you leave it, that little window and 2 on each side, it just doesn't look like the right style for that house.
Yes.
make the house look larger too.
Whoa, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I'm deaf.
We just gotta record everything.
I'm sorry. Doing it the way that was suggested would look very similar to the one in the bottom right-hand corner, which was approved, which will also be built on the
Right.
same site. So there will be some
Symmetry.
symmetry within the small cluster home community as well.
I like that.
yes.
Good
I have a-
idea.
I have a question, if that's okay. So for creating the faux bottom part of that center window, my understanding is that we're just talking about adding pieces to the exterior of, you're not gonna cut into the dormer.
Correct. What we'll have to do in order to, well, what we were gonna do anyway, the 2 white pieces of trim on either side of the current transom was gonna come off, and also the siding, and it'll be one long piece. So
Okay.
it's not looking like pieces.
Got it, okay.
It'll be one long piece of siding over all 3, and then the centerpiece will be trimmed out exactly like the 2 on either side.
Okay. Makes sense.
And then paint it black at the bottom. You usually paint them black so they don't see the wood.
Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna make it look like a window. I just
you
need
go.
to figure out
Right.
what
Right.
colors to use to make that happen.
Right.
I haven't done that before, but I've seen it done.
It's done, yeah.
Sure. And it would,
And on historic places, they do it often because inside, like your problem, changes. And it can't always
yeah,
match.
and typically,
function
the dormers
inside.
are,
Right.
4 bathrooms because
Right.
the roof slants and, so
Right.
you're just you're not adding square footage, you're just raising the roof line.
Correct.
This
Thank
feels
you.
like a good solution. Okay.
Thank you for
All
clarifying.
right,
We have a
do we
motion.
have any questions from the audience out here? No? Do I have a motion?
Wait a minute, you have a
Oh,
question.
do we had a question? Okay, go ahead. Saying stained? Did y'all hear that?
You mean frosted in some way?
No, I actually think about stained glass, like, those things, maybe
Anybody else have a comment? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we make all the windows the same size, and that the center one is a faux window at the bottom, and it will look like a regular window when it's completed.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion unanimously approved. Thanks, Lori.
Thank y'all.
All right. Next on the agenda, I have a request for COA 137 4th Street. Looks like a rear deck.
This home is also in the Monroe Walton Mills Historic District, and they are requesting to alter their rear deck. The home currently has a rear deck on it, which is kind of hard to see in this photo, but it is right here. The home is on a corner lot. And here is their proposed drawing for expanding their deck. So,
Okay, if I could get y'all to introduce yourselves into the microphone.
Hi, I'm Tyler Gregory.
I'm Lauren Gregory.
All right, if I could get you,
We're the Gregories.
if I could just get you to tell us a little bit about your project.
All right, well, first off, thank you all very much for what you do. We appreciate you and your service to the city and all the ways that you help us keep looking great. So thank you very much. So currently, the deck that you see, I don't know if you got the whole packet that I sent. It has several different
Right.
variations so that you can see all the different things. The first thing is that the house is actually green now. We recently painted. However, the renderings were already brown, so I didn't want to confuse anyone. But the deck that's currently on there is not up to code, and it is falling apart. Nothing was ever done to seal it, keep it intact, anything like that. So what we wanted to do was just put a little deck on there so that we could maybe put like a picnic table or something outside so that we could grill and have, folks over, that kind of thing. We also are in a interesting position in the fact that we have one of the only elevated mill houses. So it's built on a slope, and therefore the crawl space you can basically walk into. So since it's not on the ground, which we would prefer to be able to just do things in the backyard, but we got to get down, so that will allow us to go straight from the kitchen outside and enjoy the area a little better. And we also have it tucked to the back left so that it's not near the street or around anything like that. The deck is not visible from the front, and it's only 12 feet away from the house, so it's really not that large. So that's basically what we intend to do. It will be a wooden deck. We currently, like I said, we have the porch. The posts are painted white, and the deck boards are sealed a woodish color. So we would eventually, in 6 months or so, do the same thing to the back so that it matched the house. The pickets would be white. The railing would be white. Everything will be built to code, of course. And who's our contractor?
David Elliott with Craftsman Deck Builders.
David Elliott with Craftsman Deck Builders, if you know him at all. He's done several decks within the city and within the historic district, so everything would be probably even a little above code. He's got some great footers and those kind of things. And then, so around the bottom also, we would not enclose it, but probably just put up some boards like you've seen so that we could put our kids' toys in there. We recently had a son, and he's got cozy coops and slides and balls and tees and everything else in the world, so we think it'd be nice to be able to kind of store under there.
May I ask one question?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your door open?
Inside.
No. No. Here or here?
Oh,
The right.
it opens to the left.
This is the knob?
No, other side. It opens to the left. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions?
The reason I asked that question is I'm old, and I can't stand stairs like this.
Right.
They just look scary to me. I prefer, and this is just me, that they be wrapped to the side or to the bottom of the deck. And if you're having a child, have a little child, to me, that's even safer for you to do. Because it looks like a pigtail. Somebody can just knock it off, It doesn't look safe, even though it may be safe. If you could wrap it to one side, I think it would look better. And now, I was out there, and it's like a parking lot now. You own that whole area there?
Those lots are pretty large. They're a quarter acre.
Okay, well, I was looking to see, that you could possibly wrap it over here, but your door opens the wrong way, so you'd probably need to wrap it. Or you could start, walk across and wrap it and it come down this way.
Yes, ma'am.
That would just be safer looking and look more in keeping with the house. It doesn't look like it's just tacked on or added on.
Yes. Well, so one of the reasons we didn't go into the yard was because we wanted to save the space for
Right,
for them to
right.
be able to.
But you could wrap it at the bottom with that and change.
Oh, I see. So yeah, you want to turn
Yeah,
and
let
come
it
back this
turn.
way.
Come out a little bit and then turn to the side.
Right,
Landing,
right.
and have a landing at the top and a landing
Right,
at the bottom.
right. We can certainly look into that.
I just think it'd look better with the house instead of it looking like, oh, we've added a staircase to our deck. Is what it looks like, Just doesn't look real secure.
Just to come out just a little bit and then come
And-
down to the
Yeah,
side.
come down the side, or, instead of coming out in your face.
Oh, one of the reasons that okay. I know, I was thinking, because we did talk about that, and I was wondering why we didn't do that. It's because we want to add a fence to the yard. And so once we add the fence will go up to the stairs.
You could
And-
still do that if you wrap it. It could go up to your,
Yes, we would just have to come into our
Right.
parking space and everything. So then the fence would end up jutting out.
but it wouldn't if it came on this side. If you put it down this way, it could come here.
It's certainly something we can consider.
Here? You talking about starting your fence here?
Mm-hmm.
Could also wrap it so it came down here, wrap it this way, so it comes out right there. A lot of possibilities. to wrap
There
it.
are.
The other thing is, please don't put lattice on the bottom.
Oh, no, we will not be using lattice. Thank
Okay.
you.
Just a suggestion for the bottom, you can get big tea olives or something and put plants
That'd be
on
very
there.
nice. Yeah, we
It would
actually
look very
love-
nice.
Yes, yeah, we would love to do something like that. We'd like to put maybe little planter boxes around there, maybe clematis.
Clematis.
Right,
Have 'em grow up the side.
to hide the,
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to do everything as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So, like I said, even with the fence, like the idea was to go up and kind of knock that down. We will have plants and things like that to hopefully
Well, he
grow up.
did several models for you. The picture we saw, this is just one of them.
They're variations on the house. It's
Yeah.
the current deck and the
Right,
new
'cause
deck,
he
and then it's
just did
different
a
angles.
CAD drawing of all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he could come up with something that would be appropriate and look better than this. So what do y'all want to do?
Do y'all have any questions?
What you're saying, but I didn't think about wrapping. I have no problem with how it is.
Mark,
No, I'm good. As far, yeah, I mean.
Y'all wanna go
I'll
ahead and
let
make
y'all
it?
decide that on.
do we
your
have
own.
any questions from the public? No? Do y'all want to go ahead and make a motion? What are your thoughts? Jane?
no, I think it's his house, and he's not doing anything wrong with the coming down like that. I think he ought to be able to do that.
You want to go ahead?
I mean, he can, I'm just throwing out
Oh,
the
yeah,
idea.
and like I said, I
that-
really like your suggestion. We will certainly
Right,
take
and
that
you
into
can look into
consideration.
that.
Yes,
That's-
absolutely.
yeah.
And like I said, we had at one point, and like right now, I don't remember all the specifics around it, but that was one of the reasons that we had gone that direction. But we will, of course, look at it and think about it again.
And I know that deck builder, and he can come up with real.
Oh, yes. Oh,
All
yes.
kinds of creations, and if you tell him you want it not straight down, he'll draw you something, and
Yes.
then,
Like, I mean, we talked through it with him, and like I said, I think the fence and the future considerations were some of it. So, again, we will revisit that idea, no doubt.
I'll make a motion to approve the deck, that size.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But unanimously approved? All right. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
for
much.
coming in. We appreciate your
y'all.
time. Thank you.
again for all you do.
Thank you so much. All right, next on the agenda, let's see what we have here. We've got 116 Highland Avenue. Let's see, pull it up. 116 East Highland Avenue,
Yes.
exterior changes.
Some exterior changes, yes. The house is located in the Monroe Commercial Historic District. Now, this is a house that was moved into this district. It is not in its original location, so that's something to keep in mind. Current picture of the facade, and the applicant is proposing to add a rear bathroom to the property. And it is going to be here in the red circle here. And you can see from this drawing, now the applicant did not provide any sort of elevation drawings for what it would look like with the proposed addition. But should do a little map here with the addition, and it corresponds roughly right here.
So it'd just be, it's just a continuation, extension of what's already there.
But show back the other picture. You can't see this, but there are two gable roofs and a shed roof there. And I just like, I don't know what is gonna happen.
Before we start speaking on this one, do we have someone here to speak on this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey, Steve.
Hello, I'm Steve Brown, and Kim and her husband Lee own this property, and Lee is in the final stages of his life, and Kim was actually called to hospice this evening, is the reason she's not here. But just background, this is the oldest house in Monroe, and they have, over the last few years, restored, renovated it, and her plan, once Lee is gone, is to move here. And at present, there is no restroom, there's no bathroom in there, so this is obviously a necessity for her. I can't speak that much to the design of this, but I can tell you, in fact, that whatever goes in there will be top-notch. It will be as good as it gets. And you can look at the house and see that. I don't know that I can answer your questions. I'm just trying to, to present what she wanted to present and was not able to because, when Lee goes, it's going to be necessary for her to move, and the sooner she can start on this.
I mean, I think it possibly is a good idea, but we don't have any elevations. So she needs to furnish elevations for me because there are 3 roof lines that I don't know what's gonna happen to. And she doesn't show where the windows or doors or anything like that would be. So
I
that
can't
would be
speak to
my
that.
concern, to table it to next time.
Is there any way that we could meet at the site with her and let her explain it, and maybe,
I think it needs to have elevated drawings so we have a record of it for the
well, she could get,
commission.
she could get the elevated,
Yeah,
and we could meet and just.
yeah, we'd need elevated drawings. And I took a picture today and,
I mean, I would assume there won't be any windows or anything like that. It's
Well,
just gonna be an
let's hope so, because right now, there are no windows in the old back
correct.
side. Has no windows. Let me see if I can.
Laura,
Here
I mean,
the
do we
three
need
roof
a,
lines
if
say-
she can provide all the elevated drawings, do we need a site visit? Or do we just need the elevated drawings? What do y'all think?
Oh, yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I went, I
Yeah.
looked. Thank you. I'm, yeah.
Laura,
I'm sorry. What did you ask? I'm sorry.
so we're saying we need elevations, but I mean, is that all we need? Or we don't need a site visit if we get the elevations, right?
You want me to discuss this issue?
Yeah.
All right, so I think we have an issue with this house. This property is not in the historic district.
Oh,
This property is also not a registered historic landmark. But it is listed in your primer as a locally important place, just like Oaks Hardware and the Railroad Depot. So the three locations in the city that you've never considered an application for are just identified in the primer, something that's locally important. They are not actually registered. So the work that's been done on this house, we don't have any approvals from this commission for all the things that have ever been done to this structure, including the current,
Right.
the current state that it's in now, it's been improved to. This commission's never taken action to allow any of that.
They've never come before us.
They've never been before you for any
Right.
approval at all, so, and I
'Cause
think
but they were never required to.
they were never required to,
Right.
because like Laura and I were just discussing, and I think she was simply going by what the map shows, which.
gotcha.
This feature, this property is shown on your historic map, because this is on me. So the first time that I came on board here and did the GIS work for the city, I added the three locally important places that had never been shown on your maps ever, because they were identified in your primer. But that doesn't mean that you need to consider an application for those two. The only two things you guys need to consider are registered historic landmarks or something inside a district.
Here's my question though, since we're reevaluating our historic districts, is this gonna be added
It may be in the future.
in the
at some
future?
point. Yeah,
So
at
this
some
is, okay,
point.
so for right now, it's not, but this might be added in the future. So for right now, she can go do what she needs to do, and then in the future, this might be added.
Yeah, I would say that that's fair in this case. We can just allow the application to be withdrawn without prejudice, and they can move forward with getting a building permit.
That sounds like a
And
plan.
I'm with Steve. Kim's going to,
She'll do what
she'll
needs
do
to be
it.
done.
She will make it.
Will,
Yeah.
she'll make it.
Yes.
Well, the house sat where Scoops is originally and was moved in 1924.
Yeah, it was in a district
Yeah.
at one time, but when.
Well, it
once
wasn't a district when it was there, so.
It lost its first floor.
And let me mention one other thing. Her plan is to move here, and she would obviously move here as a single lady, or a widow living alone. And I know the city has some plan or something right now about putting a sidewalk right down the side of that house, which I think aesthetically is a bad idea, and for a lot of reasons it's a bad idea. And I don't know that y'all have anything to do with that, but the sidewalk's really unnecessary. I think the sidewalk on the other side of the street, and the sidewalk on that side comes almost to the back of the house there. But if they pave up to her street, you can see.
It's gonna be up against the house.
Yeah, it'll be up against the house. They would like to have room for plantings or whatever alongside.
I think right now, one of the businesses this commission heard tonight is literally gonna be a beneficiary of that, including other businesses along the alley where there is no pedestrian access now. So you said someone's gonna live in this house?
Yes,
Interesting.
she is.
Yeah, I think the plan, this is in the downtown area where some substantial improvements are needed, especially sidewalk and pedestrian access and safety. And so that sidewalk would need to be added there for a safety purpose right now alone.
Well, but does it need to be added, Jim, up to the house?
If the house is abutting the property line, then yes, it probably would. I don't know what the dimensions are over at the house versus the property line. I haven't seen any plans, don't know what that looks like. I would doubt that it does go up against the house if that staircase is on that property. That looks like that juts out a little bit, just based on that one photograph I've seen. Have you seen plans that show the sidewalk abutting the house?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Again, I didn't know I was gonna be here tonight.
Okay.
Just kind of an emergency.
Well, doesn't it have to be?
I'm sure that some of the city's gonna take into some consideration when it comes to central services planning to not impact that house in a negative way.
As far as, my name is Susan Brown. As far as the sidewalk, Kim's concern is that she's a single woman, and she will be in this house, and Lumpkin Street is an extremely busy area on weekends at night. And the sidewalk literally will come to her house, and there's a very good possibility that she would sell the house.
I would say at this point, I mean, I think these concerns are very valid, but I think these need to be raised with the city council.
But back to the bathroom, Lee Smith, her husband, when they remodeled this house, he hired an architect that was historically significant.
Bob Daly.
Yes, and Kim would not, the next thing, if she did a bathroom, it would be in keeping with the architecture of the house.
Miss Susan? Miss Susan? Yes. Will you tell Kim to reach out to me about a building permit for the bathroom and let her know that the fee that she paid for this will be applied to her building permit?
Okay. And that will be expedited because.
As soon as she gets the permit to me, I can turn it around for her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in.
And we miss you.
Thank you.
We miss you,
Steve.
Susan.
Yes.
And again, let me go back before I got in my rabbit hole there. I added those three things to the map, and I think it created some confusion for Laura, and I apologize to this commission for that. That was not her fault anyway in processing this application, because I was even, when I saw the sign the other day walking to Strange Taco, I was like, why are we, I know that this house is not in a historic district, and I was like, I didn't follow back up with Laura, and I didn't ask her, hey, what's going on? Because that's when I was with Pat, and Pat goes, we've always made him do it.
See, I went all through this with the group, before with Pat.
Right.
When they started their renovation, I said, they haven't come before us, they haven't come before us. And being the oldest house, I thought it would be under our jurisdiction.
Well, Kim thinks it's in the district.
It's not.
She does, yeah.
It's not.
Really does. So she needs to be told it.
So we probably need to see what we need to do too, once the resurvey process is done,
Right.
to have it added.
I would think that, in almost all certainty, that because of the history of this structure and the fact that it's probably very contributing and it's
It would be.
history itself, it's got all of the boxes being checked that would make it something that.
Isn't it kind of like the Titchener House in that it's a historical entity in itself?
Well, that's in the McDaniel Street Historic.
Well, no, being the oldest house in Monroe,
Yeah.
it should
Right.
be.
Right,
This structure has history, I think, that makes it
Right.
something that certainly qualifies it to being something that would need to be protected. I wasn't trying to strip away your authority tonight in any kind of way, but.
Could you quickly
those
say the
three-
two other properties?
Yeah, Oaks Hardware, and it's shown on your historic district map, if you pull it up on the webpage, they're shown in pink.
Right.
They're not shown, so, I mean, it's confusing, but I tried to make sure they were labeled appropriate in the legend as something that was identified in the city because they were identified in your primer, but they weren't under your jurisdiction, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Oaks Hardware, which, I hate to see that building go, that's down there, at the corner of Madison.
Down the antique shop.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the railroad depot that's just south, or just northwest of that spot. That's- And those are, to me, and I guess my estimation is that when we go through these surveys, those structures are gonna fall right in line too.
Okay.
Where, the depot, is that where the,
Fish. Where
No.
fish? No?
No, not that one. No, this one
well,
is,
there's,
One by the Michis, that's back
thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
where you come out of Amici.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Onto Davis.
behind Walgreens.
Yep. That's right.
Okay, so moving on, next thing on the agenda, we don't have any more new business, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we just have the adjournment, is that correct? Yes. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. This concludes the HPC meeting of August 22nd, 2023. We are adjourned.